The second season of Wednesday begins with her tied up in a terrifying place, surrounded by creepy dolls. She tells us that she's now inside the serial killer's lair and that he thinks she's going to be his next victim. But Wednesday reveals that she actually spent her entire vacation training to master her supernatural ability, using Goody's book filled with ancient spells.
She explains that 6 weeks ago, she decided to uncover the dark force that had been haunting her since she was just 6 years old. At that time, she was hunting down a serial killer, one who had managed to stay free because of how cunning and elusive he was. To track him, she needed evidence from his latest crime scene. With the help of Enid, Wednesday got hold of a bowling ball that once belonged to the killer's last victim. The moment she touched it, she was hit with a powerful vision that revealed the killer's location. She went after him, determined to stop him, but instead she failed. He overpowered her, took control, and locked her inside his dungeon. Now, in the present, Wednesday tells us that the killer still thinks he's in control of her, but she has no plans of correcting that illusion. Just then, the killer enters, holding a doll he made to look exactly like her, preparing to end her life. Suddenly, Enid appears out of nowhere and launches at him, striking him repeatedly until he collapses to the ground. Wednesday grabs a knife and steps closer to finish what he started.
Moments later, we see Wednesday in her room, staring at a newspaper clipping pinned to her wall. The headline reads, "Serial Killer Captured Thanks to the Help of a Young Girl." Wednesday, unfazed, returns to typing her novel on her typewriter.
That's when her mother, Morticia, walks in, urging her to hurry so she won't be late for her first day back at school. Morticia admits she wished they could have spent more time together during the summer. Wednesday apologizes, saying she was too consumed with writing her new book.
They get into the car with her father, Gomez, and her brother, Pugsley, who's about to start his very first year at Nevermore Academy. Gomez beams with pride at his son's abilities, especially since their driver, Lurch, had witnessed his training. But Lurch's face is marked by darkness. His left eye is black, and his right eye glows violent. The fury in his expression reminds us that during Pugsley's training, an explosion had cost Lurch his right eye.
Meanwhile, elsewhere, a man waits nervously for someone. Soon, a car pulls up and a woman rushes out to hug him tightly. From the shadows, another man photographs them. But as he lowers his camera, he notices a black raven perched on the branch above him. Its eyes glow blood red. The man grows tense, but tries to ignore it, until more and more ravens begin to gather. They swarm his car without him noticing. Suddenly, the red-eyed raven lets out a shrill cry, almost like a command. The flock attacks. The man scrambles into his car, calling his partner in a panic. He tells him, "I've been exposed. If I die, the evidence is hidden in the cabin." But before he can act, he realizes the car is completely filled with ravens. In a gruesome frenzy, they tear him apart. Back at Nevermore, the gates open for Wednesday and her family. As they step out, Morticia reminds Wednesday to look after her brother. Wednesday smirks, saying she always does. Her words take us back to a memory. Wednesday sealing Pugsley inside a wooden coffin and hammering the lid shut, all in the name of protection. Inside the academy, students rush to photograph Wednesday, some even asking for her autograph. She brushes them off, saying she doesn't care about such things. That's when Bianca steps in, warning the new students not to bother Wednesday. She reminds her that she became famous after saving Nevermore from the monstrous Hyde. Bianca notices how Wednesday stays silent, realizing the fame unsettles her. She tells her, "The more you try to avoid attention, the more it will find you."
Then the new headmaster, Barry, arrives and greets Wednesday. He praises her for saving the school and explains he plans to revive an old tradition, the Founders' Bonfire Ceremony, which will be held the following night. He asks her to be the guest of honor, but Wednesday coldly replies that she doesn't like talking about the dead and walks away.
Later in her dorm, Wednesday is met with a surprise. Students are throwing her a welcome party. Her roommate, Enid, quickly kicks everyone out and excitedly introduces Wednesday to Bruno, the boy she's been crushing on. After saying goodbye to him, Enid hands Wednesday a gift, an all-black t-shirt, knowing it's her favorite color. Wednesday accepts, then gives Enid her own gift, a doll that looks eerily like her. Enid is surprised but accepts it, thanking her. She then shares her big dreams for the year, becoming captain of the dance team and joining the Nightshade Society. When she asks Wednesday about her goals, Wednesday bluntly says she just wants to avoid people and finish her novel.
As they talk, a sudden arrow shoots through the storage door and pins a photo of Wednesday and the headmaster to the wall. On it is a chilling message: "Welcome, Wednesday." She realizes someone is watching her. She tries to use her visions to uncover who it is, but fails. Black tears begin streaming down her face, something Enid notices in shock. Wednesday quickly wipes them away and tells her not to worry. Later, while saying goodbye to her family, Wednesday is stunned to learn that Barry has asked Morticia to stay at Nevermore as head of the fundraising committee, especially since Xavier and his mother have left for Switzerland. Wednesday knows this means Xavier won't be at school this year.
Barry gives Morticia a house on the grounds, asking her to spend the night and decide by tomorrow if she'll accept the position. Morticia tells Wednesday she's only staying because she worries about her, especially with Goody no longer guiding her. Wednesday snaps back, insisting Morticia can't help her anyway. "I'm a raven. You're a dove. Our paths in the magical kingdom will never align." But Morticia reveals that she once had her own connection to the ravens through Wednesday's aunt, Ophelia. Wednesday asks her to focus on taking care of Pugsley instead, warning her not to worry about her. Later, Gomez joins them, concerned, as Morticia admits she's terrified Wednesday is hiding too much from them, and that history may be repeating itself.
That night, while walking through the woods, Wednesday notices police cars and an ambulance blocking the road. They're loading the mangled body of the journalist, Carl. The officers are baffled by the brutality of his death, though they note he had been spying on his boss and his mistress. To them, that wasn't enough reason for him to die like this. Just then, Wednesday spots someone running through the forest. She reacts instantly, hurling something that knocks him to the ground. It turns out the man is Detective Galpin. He tells Wednesday that the victim's name is Carl and that Carl was his friend. They had been working on a case together, and he believes that case is what got Carl killed. Galpin explains that Carl discovered something by accident, something that could have a huge impact on the outcasts at Nevermore Academy. Wednesday raises an eyebrow, asking why Galpin suddenly cares about the outcasts. He reminds her that his son, Tyler, is one of them. He admits he knows what Tyler did, but insists it wasn't his fault. Coldly, Wednesday replies that his son was a monster from the very beginning. Galpin cuts her off, saying he needs her help to uncover the threat that's targeting the outcasts. Wednesday doesn't respond and turns to leave. He stops her, pointing out that she didn't stumble upon the crime scene by accident. Something drew her there. He tells her if she changes her mind, she knows where to find him. Then he warns her, the ravens are always watching. That night, a student named Jax tells the new students a chilling legend, the story of the Skull Tree. He begins with a tale about a brilliant boy who was born with a weak heart. He spent most of his childhood in hospitals, sketching strange machines and dreaming of building them one day. When the doctors told him he wouldn't live more than a few months, he decided to build himself a mechanical heart. The surgery worked, but the heart changed him. The boy lost all emotion and became obsessed only with his ambition. When he arrived at Nevermore, the school welcomed him as a genius inventor, but over time, his inventions grew dangerous. One night, one of his experiments exploded, killing him instantly. Jax says legend has it that his body was buried beneath a cursed tree known as the Skull Tree. Nobody has ever found it. It lies deep in a terrifying forest that only the bravest dare to enter. As the students listen in horror,
Pugsley's eyes light up. His expression makes it clear he wants to find that tree. Meanwhile, Headmaster Barry meets with Bianca in his office. He praises her abilities and asks if she has plans for the future. When she stays silent, he suggests she join the fundraising committee. Bianca politely declines. Barry then reminds her that she's at Nevermore on a full scholarship and the school is struggling financially. He warns that she could lose her scholarship unless she helps. Realizing this is blackmail, Bianca reluctantly agrees. That same night, Morticia opens an old book about her sister, Ophelia. Sadness washes over her face. At the same time, Pugsley sits in his room, staring at a map, tracing the location of the skull tree, and Barry, alone in his office, takes out a photo of former headmistress Larissa. His eyes soften with sorrow. Elsewhere, a shadowy figure clutches a photo of Wednesday, slicing out her eyes with a blade.
Back in the music room, Wednesday plays the cello, pouring out her pain through the strings. Suddenly, a woman enters, the new music teacher, Miss Capri. She introduces herself and tells Wednesday she can feel the grief hidden in her playing. Wednesday stares at her coldly and replies that she doesn't need lessons from anyone, then storms out. The next night, Wednesday receives a letter from Xavier. He writes that he tried calling her on the phone he gave her, but she never answered. Wednesday remembers the moment she threw the phone into the water. Xavier also sends her a painting of a raven with glowing red eyes perched on a grave. In his letter, he tells her the image appeared suddenly in his mind, and though he doesn't know what it means, he's certain the raven is connected to her.
Wednesday notices something strange on her desk. She opens the drawer. Her novel is gone. In its place is a photo of her with the eyes cut out, along with a note from the stalker. The message reads, "I am born of fire. Tonight, your novel burns with the founder's bonfire." Terrified, Wednesday runs to the ceremony. As she pushes through the crowd, a group of students slip a small envelope into her pocket. Inside are sharp razor blades. She slices her hands as she opens it, but ignores the pain. The note inside warns, "If you don't want to see your novel destroyed, enter the statue." She obeys, crawling beneath the massive stone statue. Deep inside, she finds her novel resting on the ground. At that very moment, Barry begins the ceremony above, lighting a torch and hurling it onto the statue. Flames engulf the monument. But Wednesday walks through the fire, clutching her book tightly. Just before the entire statue collapses, she emerges unharmed, moving calmly and defiantly through the crowd.
Barry welcomes her with a smile, telling everyone that if not for her bravery, none of them would be standing there tonight. He unveils a massive mural painted in her honor, depicting her and her classmates as saviors of Nevermore. Then he asks her to give a speech to the new students. Wednesday steps forward. She tells them they have a long road ahead if they wish to confront true evil and destroy it. The students cheer wildly until she sets the mural on fire, declaring she doesn't want to be glorified. The crowd falls silent. Meanwhile, Pugsley has reached the skull tree. He presses his ear against the bark, listening for the heartbeat of the genius boy. Suddenly, a raven bursts from inside the tree. It falls to the ground, sparking with violent electricity. The ground trembles, and a corpse clawing its way out of the soil emerges, its form twisted and terrifying. But Pugsley doesn't flinch. He just smiles. At that same moment, Wednesday returns to her dorm. Enid follows her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. Wednesday is struck with a powerful vision. Her black tears spill uncontrollably, and her body trembles violently. She collapses, falling into a dark realm filled with endless graves. Ravens circle the sky above. She walks among the tombstones until she sees one that freezes her blood. The name carved into it, Enid Sinclair. Suddenly, Enid herself appears, but twisted, monstrous. She lunges at Wednesday, screaming that she died because of her. Wednesday snaps back to reality, gasping, black tears still pouring from her eyes. Her whole body shakes as Morticia rushes to her side. Wednesday whispers her friend's name, terrified, but her mother assures her that Enid is alive and safe. Morticia takes her to her room, sitting with her.
She gently explains that the black tears are a sign of exhaustion, the result of abusing her psychic power. Wednesday asks how to get rid of them. Morticia tells her she must first surrender Goody's spellbook. Then she warns her not to rush into battling evil, that when the time is right, a new mentor will appear to guide her. But Wednesday refuses, saying she can't wait. She storms off. Morticia stops her, insisting she's not her enemy, she's her mother. She tells her that her gift is not a curse, but a blessing from God, and she must protect it. But Wednesday ignores her and leaves.
She goes straight to Galpin's house, pounding on the door. No answer. She tries the handle. The door creaks open. She steps inside and freezes. Detective Galpin is dead, his eyes gouged out, the same horrific way his friend Carl was killed. Suddenly, a swarm of ravens bursts from Galpin's mouth, flapping violently around the ceiling in search of an exit. They smash through the glass and escape into the night. But one remains. The red-eyed raven. It perches in front of Wednesday, staring at her. When she steps closer, it takes flight and vanishes into the darkness.
And as the figure leaves the room, Wednesday tries to touch Galpin's corpse, hoping for a vision that might reveal why the crows killed him. She grips his body, focusing hard, but nothing happens. No visions. Her powers aren't working. A sudden chill runs through her. Something is wrong. She rushes to leave the house, but the moment she opens the door, the police are waiting. They arrest her on the spot. At the station, the sheriff demands answers. "What were you doing at Galpin's house so late at night?" Wednesday replies coldly, "He asked me to visit him." But the sheriff doesn't believe her. She reveals that Carl had also called Galpin before his death and died in the exact same horrific way. The sheriff presses harder, suspicious of the connection between Galpin and Carl, noting that Galpin's phone is missing.
Before Wednesday can answer, Gomez storms in, introducing himself as her lawyer. He reminds the sheriff that if she wants to question his daughter, she'll need to file a formal request with the court. He takes Wednesday out immediately. On their way back, Gomez scolds her recklessness, warning her that Morticia will not approve. But Wednesday insists, "You need to take Mother and go back home." Gomez shakes his head. "Your mother will never agree to that." When she asks about her Aunt Ophelia, Gomez refuses to explain, saying it's better she hears that story from her mother. The next day, Ajax leaves Eugene's beekeeping shed just as Eugene spots him. Suspicious, Eugene questions where Ajax was during last night's ceremony and why he was sneaking around the shed. It's revealed they now share a dorm, which explains why they've grown closer as friends. But Eugene's eyes widen in horror when he sees the creature Ajax had hidden inside, the same monster from the legend. It lunges toward Eugene, but Ajax chains it back, controlling it like a twisted pet. The terrifying truth emerges. This creature is the very boy from Jack's story, the genius with the mechanical heart that came alive. The lightning that struck Ajax had reawakened the heart, bringing the boy back as a monster. Although Eugene is terrified, he cautiously offers the creature honey. The monster spits it back in rage. Meanwhile, Wednesday returns to her dorm and confides in Thing. She admits her powers are weakening. Worse, she had a vision of Enid's death, and in that vision, she was the cause. She suspects the crows are connected and is certain the answers lie within Goody's spellbook.
Back in her room, she's startled to find a new message on Enid's phone. The stalker has texted. She forces Enid to call the number, and, to her horror, the call is answered by Galpin's missing phone. A pre-recorded message plays, confirming her worst fear. The killer is using Galpin's phone. Enid, trembling, panics at the thought of being dragged into Galpin's murder. Furious, she blames Wednesday for always pulling her into danger. She storms out to attend her driving lessons, leaving Wednesday with only Thing. Determined, Wednesday asks Thing to search Goody's book for a cure to her weakening powers. She then confronts Barry and a teacher named Orlov, questioning whether any students at Nevermore have the ability to control birds. Orlov replies grimly, "Not for the last 10 years.
Elsewhere, Morticia meets with Bianca, who is still being pressured to convince her to lead the fundraising committee. At the same time, Ajax and Eugene sneak food to the chained monster. But the food isn't just nourishment. It strengthens him. With terrifying force, he snaps his chains and escapes into the night.
Wednesday, meanwhile, disguises herself as Enid by stealing her driving class ticket. Behind the wheel, she shocks the instructor with her flawless driving skills. Her real destination is revealed, the psychiatric hospital where Tyler is being held. Inside, Wednesday is greeted by Dr. Fairborn, Tyler's overseer. Fairborn reveals that Tyler has spoken of Wednesday often, but she warns that Tyler is evasive, manipulative, and never honest. Before Wednesday enters his cell, Fairborn explains she will be watching. If Wednesday senses any danger, she must press the red button.
Tyler sees her and smirks. "I knew you'd come." He lunges at her, but the guards restrain him with his shackles. Coldly, Wednesday tells him the truth. "Your father is dead, killed last night, just like Carl before him." She asks if he's involved. Tyler denies it, insisting he's been locked away, unable to act. She realizes he won't give her anything useful and turns to leave. But Tyler calls out, "Tell Enid I'll kill her the moment I see her, and you'll carry the guilt of her death for the rest of your life." Unflinching, Wednesday replies, "You're nothing but a foolish pawn. Just like when Maryland used you before. You have nothing to offer this world." Enraged, Tyler transforms into the Hide, but the guards restrain him once again. Wednesday leans in and delivers her final blow. "You're nothing more than a caged animal, and I won't be visiting again." Back at Nevermore, Eugene races to Ajax, panicked. The monster's gone.
Meanwhile, Enid enters her dorm with her new boyfriend, Bruno. As she introduces him to Thing, something strange happens. Bruno begins to act unnaturally. Thing tries to escape, but a hidden force slams the chest shut, trapping him inside. At the same time, Bianca visits Barry, who pressures her about Morticia. When Bianca resists, he reminds her of his power. She uses her siren ability to try and control him, but fails. Smirking, Barry warns her, "Do not test me. Finish your task, or I'll end you." That night, Wednesday discovers Thing locked in the chest. She frees him, but Enid is missing. Thing points frantically, explaining that Enid ran off screaming. Moments later, Enid's phone rings. Wednesday answers. On the other end, the stalker's voice taunts her. "I have your friend. The game has begun. You have 30 minutes to find her, or she dies. Tell anyone, and she dies even faster. I'm watching you, Wednesday."
A note suddenly slides under the door. Wednesday bolts to the hallway, but finds no one there. The deadly game has begun. In another place, we see Wednesday and her friend Bruno chained with heavy shackles. When they wake up, they realize they're trapped inside the abandoned Iago Tower. They're shocked. No one has been up there in years. They struggle to break free, but it's useless. Suddenly, a set of sharp knives appears above them. Meanwhile, Wednesday studies the strange paper she received, trying to decode its meaning and find her missing friend. By chance, she runs into Professor Tabry, who invites her to play some music, but Wednesday insists she's busy. After Cabri leaves, Wednesday notices something unusual. The message on the paper is written in musical notes. She heads straight to the music room, sits at the piano, and begins to play. Suddenly, a hidden passage opens inside the classroom, revealing a dark stairwell. She enters and descends deep underground until she finds a mask lying on the floor. She picks it up and continues. Finally, she reaches the top floor of Iago Tower, with Sing right behind her. To her horror, Wednesday sees Enid and Bruno chained to the walls. She orders Sing to free them, but he doesn't notice the deadly trap. Blades fall from the ceiling. One strikes him, stopping him in his tracks. The gears of the tower begin to move, and the knives slowly descend toward Enid and Bruno. Desperate, Wednesday searches the room.
She finds an old typewriter with a sheet of paper inside. It has a question written on it. The only way to save her friends is to answer correctly. As the knives inch closer to Enid and Bruno, Wednesday frantically flips through nearby books for the answer. At the very last second, she types it in. The blades freeze, halting inches away from their bodies. Then, out of nowhere, a girl appears before her.
It's the same mysterious student Wednesday met on her first day at Nevermore, the one who admired her powers. Her name is Agnes, and her supernatural gift is invisibility. Agnes congratulates Wednesday and explains, "This is April Fool's Day. Everything that happened was just a prank." She admits she took Galpin's phone only to continue her joke and hands it back to Wednesday, but she swears she has nothing to do with the murders of Carl or Galpin. Later that night, Bianca visits Morticia. Using her siren powers, she tries to control her into calling her mother and forcing her to donate a huge sum to Nevermore. This was Barry's plan all along. He's after Morticia's family fortune. Under Bianca's influence, Morticia agrees, but is compelled to keep the meeting a secret. Back in her room, Wednesday discovers the Book of Goody is missing. She suspects her mother took it. Furious, she turns to scold Sing, but then notices a black crow perched outside her window. When she rushes toward it, the crow flies into the dark forest.
That same night, deep in the woods, the monster roams among the trees. A teacher driving down the road suddenly sees the creature in front of his car. He swerves and crashes. When he gets out to check, the monster ambushes him from behind, dragging him to the ground before devouring him alive. Meanwhile, Wednesday sneaks into her mother's room, searching for the Book of Goody, but finds nothing. Morticia enters, already expecting her daughter's arrival. She tells her she knows about her visions. Wednesday admits she saw herself standing in a graveyard filled with crows. Among the graves was one marked Enid, with a red-eyed crow perched on it. Enid appeared in the vision, blaming Wednesday for her death. Wednesday believes the red-eyed crow is the same one responsible for the murders of Galpin and Carl, and she's determined to uncover the real killer. But Morticia warns her that the book holds nothing but pain. She compares her to her Aunt Ophelia, who let her powers drive her to madness. Wednesday insists she's nothing like her aunt and storms out. The next day, Wednesday digs through Galpin's phone searching for clues. At the same time, Enid is busy choosing outfits for the upcoming camping trip. Wednesday shares her vision of Enid's death with Sing. Suddenly, Agnes reappears, having overheard everything. Wednesday threatens her, warning that if she reveals the secret, she'll kill her. Agnes promises to keep quiet and offers her help. At the same time, Ajax and Eugene manage to recapture the monster and lock it inside the cabin again, but they notice something terrifying. Its brain has started to regenerate. They realize the creature feeds on human brains. When the monster mutters its first word, Ajax thinks it's calling his name, but Eugene realizes it's saying, "brain." Before the monster can attack Eugene, Ajax shocks it with electricity, forcing it back into its cage. Wednesday reluctantly accepts Agnes's help. She's impressed by her shape-shifting ability and the strange objects she collected from Galpin's house. Among them, Wednesday finds a photograph of a cabin marked 2015. She studies the map and realizes it's close to the camping site where Nevermore students are headed. At the camp, she's shocked to see her brother lugging around a black coffin. Inside, he's hiding the monster, claiming he couldn't leave it alone.
The situation worsens when Ron, the scout leader, shows Barry the legal papers proving the campsite belongs to his team. An argument breaks out. Wednesday proposes a competition. Whoever wins gets the land. Both sides agree. The challenge begins. Each team must protect its egg and place it on top of a tower. The scouts take the lead at first, but Wednesday quickly devises a plan. Sing signals Eugene, who unleashes his swarm of bees against the scouts' smoke bombs. In the final moments, Wednesday races to the tower, places the egg, and secures victory for Nevermore. That night, she sneaks away from camp to investigate cabin 2015. Inside, she discovers a hidden wall covered with photos of outcasts, all of whom have mysteriously died over the years. Among the names carved into the wall is Louie. Hoping for answers, Wednesday presses her hand to the wall, trying to trigger a vision. But once again, nothing. Her powers fail her.
Wednesday decides she must recover Judy's book at any cost. At that exact moment, a raven is standing behind the glass, silently watching them. She goes to her mother one last time, demanding the book. But Morticia refuses again. Wednesday challenges her to a duel in the forest, and Morticia accepts. Meanwhile, the monster attacks the scout leader and devours his brain. The rest of the scouts panic and run for their lives. Back in the forest, the duel begins. Xavier acts as the referee. At the same time, Pugsley and Eugene discover the truth. The monster has eaten the scout leader's brain. They are horrified. Suddenly, Agnes appears and warns them. The monster has escaped the tent, and they must find it quickly before it causes more destruction. The monster roams through the camp, then leaves, heading into the forest, where it spots Wednesday and her mother fighting. Morticia wins the duel. But just as the monster charges at her, Wednesday throws her sword with deadly precision. It strikes the creature in the head, pinning it to a tree.
The police arrive, restrain the monster in chains, and take it away. In that moment, Wednesday sees a mysterious figure with a raven perched on his shoulder. Then, he vanishes. Back in her room, Wednesday starts piecing together the evidence. Why were Galpin and Carl obsessed with the ravens? If they hadn't followed the trail, they might still be alive. The next day, Dr. Fairborn welcomes Marilyn into the hospital. She asks Marilyn to visit her son, Tyler, to help heal him. Marilyn agrees. But the moment Tyler sees her, he transforms into the monster and strangles her. She apologizes, promising to make things right. Tyler calms down and throws her to the floor. Meanwhile, Wednesday searches the graveyard for the remains of the outcasts who died. Suddenly, her grandmother appears. She explains that Morticia invited her to the donation gala. The grandmother asks why Wednesday is so obsessed with searching graves.
Wednesday reveals everything about the case she's investigating and how Morticia refuses to give her Judy's book. Out of nowhere, a raven attacks, stealing Wednesday's notes and flying away. She chases it desperately but fails. Wednesday begs her grandmother to buy the entire graveyard so she can search freely. Out of love, the grandmother agrees. When Wednesday returns to her room, Agnes is waiting. Wednesday tells her, "The master of the birds knows we're after him. Time is running out. We must stop him before he kills Enid."
With the new evidence, Wednesday is convinced the answers lie in the psychiatric hospital. She meets her uncle Fester and asks for his help to infiltrate the facility. While they're talking, Fester shoots a spark of electricity from his hand, accidentally shocking Agnes, revealing her presence. Fester is annoyed by her spying, but Wednesday explains. She asks him to find someone named Louise inside the hospital. Louise could be a patient, a doctor, or even staff, and Fairborn must never know. Fester grins. These are exactly the kind of missions he loves. But before heading in, he checks into a hotel where his antics terrify the guests. The manager calls the police, and he is arrested. At the station, Fester pretends to be insane, eating a cactus right off the desk. The police chief orders the officers to call the psychiatric hospital, exactly as Fester planned. Soon, he's admitted as a patient. Inside, he begins asking around for Louise, but no one seems to know her. Elsewhere, the true Birdmaster watches Nevermore from a distance. He sees Wednesday with Agnes. Agnes explains, Dr. August is now the head doctor at the psychiatric hospital. But before his appointment, he was once a teacher at Nevermore. He only joined the hospital after suffering a mental breakdown. Wednesday hurries to Xavier, asking him to deliver a secret message to Fester. Find August. He is the key to reaching Louise. Meanwhile, Enid confronts Wednesday. She feels ignored, abandoned. But before Wednesday can explain, ravens begin to swarm the school. Wednesday panics. This must be the moment from her vision, the moment Enid dies. She begs her to hide. But it's too late. The Birdmaster gives the command. A storm of ravens descends upon Nevermore, attacking the students in chaos. One raven grabs Xavier and lifts him into the air. Barry hurls a fireball, forcing the bird to drop him. Enid rushes forward, catching Xavier just before he crashes to his death. At the same time, Wednesday spots the Birdmaster escaping. She gives chase, but he vanishes, leaving only his cloak behind. Just then, she finds Dr. Fairborn standing there.
Suspicious of her presence, Wednesday wonders if she's the Birdmaster, but Fairborn claims she only came to take Capri back to the hospital for music therapy sessions. Capri arrives, surprised that the two know each other. Moments later, Fairborn's car horn blares, her assistant rushing her. Fairborn leaves. Wednesday notices how quickly Capri reacts, almost too nervously. She suspects something, but keeps it to herself. Later, she follows Xavier as he leaves in Fairborn's car. This is her chance. He can deliver her urgent message to Fester inside the hospital. Morticia intercepts Wednesday, demanding to know why she sent Fester into the asylum. Wednesday explains. He is helping with the case and she refuses to let Enid die. Morticia warns her. Those birds nearly killed Xavier. If she continues, worse will come. Inside the hospital, Fester is shocked when Xavier finally appears. He delivers Wednesday's message. Find Dr. August. He will lead you to Louise. Fester immediately starts searching until he finds August, sitting silently, alone. Fester tells August that he is looking for Louise. It turns out August doesn't speak. He only communicates through the parrot on his shoulder. Fester shocks him with a spark of electricity, forcing the truth out. The parrot blurts out a specific number, and Fester realizes this number must be connected to Louise. At the same time, Wednesday goes to Orloff and asks if he knows anything about a teacher named August. He replies that all he remembers is that August once had a daughter. Wednesday asks if her name was Louise, but he says he can't recall. With no other choice, Wednesday decides she must go to the hospital herself. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Fester escorts August back to his room, but August points him toward the maintenance room, repeating the name Louise over and over again. Confused, Fester continues on his path. After settling August, he sneaks back to the maintenance room, only to find Dr. Fairborn arriving with security guards. They capture him on the spot. Fairborn drags Fester into an interrogation room. She even brings in the monster they had captured at Nevermore, threatening to let it devour him if he refuses to talk. At that very moment, Enid witnesses everything and rushes to warn Wednesday. She orders him to return to the hospital, stay close to Fester, and wait until she finds a way inside to rescue him. Later, Wednesday sits down with Agnes. She explains that Capri is scheduled to visit the hospital to give a music therapy class. This is their perfect chance to sneak in. Agnes agrees, and Wednesday lays out the plan. But then Enid arrives, demanding to know her role. Not wanting to upset her, Wednesday reluctantly includes her in the mission, assigning her the role of lookout. If things go wrong, Enid must call the police immediately. That night, Wednesday hides inside the trunk of Capri's car. At the hospital, Agnes and Enid are already waiting. The moment Capri arrives, Agnes uses her stealth skills to slip away unseen. She sets off fireworks in the bathroom to distract security guards before they can search the car. Thanks to this diversion, Wednesday sneaks into the hospital undetected. Inside, a nurse Fester had befriended earlier helps Wednesday hide in a food cart and wheels her toward his cell. Wednesday steals a guard's ID card, unlocks the cell, and frees Fester. Together, they begin searching for Louise. But the monster imprisoned with Fester escapes and wreaks havoc. It attacks the guards escorting Marilyn back to her cell. She seizes the chaos to escape. Wednesday is shocked to see her running free, but she doesn't stop. She and Fester press forward. Meanwhile, Fairborn and Capri hear the commotion outside. A guard reports the breach, and Fairborn orders the emergency plan to be activated. Fester and Wednesday reach the maintenance room. Using the number the parrot revealed, Fester opens a hidden lock. Inside, they discover a secret passage and a staircase leading underground. On the wall, a chilling phrase is scrawled. Wednesday realizes the truth. Louise isn't a person. It's an acronym for a classified experiment conducted on patients.
They descend into the underground prison. There, Wednesday discovers the outcasts are still alive. The hospital faked their deaths to experiment on them. She finally understands. Galpin feared his son would become one of their test subjects. Suddenly, the bird master appears, accompanied by a raven with a red eye. To Wednesday's shock, Fairborn's assistant is revealed as the bird master. Even more shocking, she is August's daughter. She explains her father experimented on outcasts to harness their supernatural powers. When he broke down mentally, she vowed to continue his work. She declares she is living proof of his success, born a normal human, transformed by his experiments into someone who can control birds with ease. Fester tries to electrocute her, but the attack causes a massive explosion. The power goes out across the hospital. Outside, Agnes and Enid see the blackout and hear the blast. Enid immediately calls the police. Inside, the prison cells unlock. The outcasts storm out, hunting August's daughter to take revenge for the tortures she inflicted. Only one prisoner remains behind, a frail woman who refuses to leave. Wednesday takes her by the hand, helping her escape.
Meanwhile, the monster slowly regains its human form, fueled by the brains it devoured during the chaos. Elsewhere, Marilyn reaches her son Tyler's cell. She frees him from his chains, embracing him and claiming she came to save him. But Tyler snarls that she is the reason for all his suffering. She enslaved him, forced him to serve her twisted desires. Realizing his rage, Marilyn panics and tries to redirect his anger toward Wednesday. She pleads, "She's here in the hospital. Go after her."
But Tyler coldly replies that he will kill Wednesday eventually. Yet first, he must destroy his mother. Marilyn flees in terror as Tyler transforms back into a monster. He catches her, tears her apart, then storms off into the darkness, hunting for Wednesday. Back in her office, Fairborn is with August when the monster bursts in. It slaughters her, then turns on August, killing him too. Wednesday, still guiding the prisoner, suddenly faces Tyler. She orders the woman to run while she stands her ground. Tyler smashes her aside with brutal force, throwing her out of a window. She crashes to the ground, bloodied and broken.
At that moment, police storm the hospital, opening fire on Tyler. But bullets have no effect. The monster tears through the officers, slaughtering many, then vanishes into the forest. Xavier rushes to Wednesday's side, horrified to find her lying unconscious, bleeding heavily. And that's where the story ends.